It reminded me of a phrase used by Hitchcock, in which he described a script as a nice, nasty little piece. The Pale Horse it's actually a building. It's like an old disused pub that these three women live in.
We see the story through the mind's eye of the central character, Mark, played by Rufus Sewell.
There's a list of names that are found in a dead lady's shoe.
His name finds itself on this list and he doesn't know why. There's a question mark after it.
And one by one, the people on the list turn up dead.
It's got this incredible sort of paranormal element, so it's also about these three women and whether or not there's something more to them than fortune telling.
All the way through, you're kind of wondering who they are and what they're doing.
I feel we're like the web that draws all the characters in.
Who do you trust? Can you kind of trust your neighbours and friends?
I love the way that this story gets into the nooks and crannies of psychology.
It's much more of a story about, I think, paranoia, about the way that your mind can play tricks on you, about the power of suggestion.
What appealed to me, don't judge me on it, was the idea of this veneer of sophistication, of class, of luxury is only possible if supported by a vicious, brutal underbelly. That's the thing that keeps it all nice.
We get this kind of creeping sense of dread, but also everyone has something kind of rotten, and I think those three women bring that out.
What are our powers?
Do they practice the dark arts?
People don't know what's happening and are intrigued to know what's happening behind our front door.
My name is Rufus Sewell, and I play Mark Easterbrook. He's a man of his time. He works in antiques, quite high-end antiques. He likes his very flash motor cars. To all intents and purposes, he's someone who makes his life look good from the outside, but inside is a different story.
He tries to discover, as does my character, Stanley, what is going on and why these people are disappearing. But there's a secret of his own that he has.
We are referred to as the witches, yes. But are we witches? That's important. We have different gifts, different strengths, but we operate as one unit.
Osborne was described in the script as an owlish little man, 60, with wire-rimmed spectacles and a few strands of hair scraped across his bald pate. And I thought, they've come to the right shop.
I'm so intrigued by these witchy women, the sort of ambiguity that surrounds whether or not there is any kind of paranormal activity in this thing, whether or not there is magic going on.
Mothballs has actually helped me get into character. You just have to put on these extraordinary costumes from the 50s and 60s, and you're transported straight back.
I come from a very different background to this guy, and I enjoy slipping into it like a suit.
Working with Rufus Sewell is actually vaguely irritating, because the older I've known him for many, many years, and the older he gets, the more handsome he gets, damn his eyes. I mean, he's got cheekbones you can open letters with.
It's just a great opportunity to see different characters in extremis, and all the lying and the conniving and the cheating. It's fun.
It's genuinely the amazing world of Agatha Christie, but not in a way that you will have necessarily seen.
To me, it's very different. It's almost like a one-off of hers, I feel.
Agatha Christie's fantastic at this, isn't she? It's sort of, at the same time as, you know, nearly defining the genre, often subverting it, and I think that's just really cool.
She's peeling off the veneer of what people say to the world and what their existence is like in private.
When I think of Agatha Christie, I don't necessarily think of the 60s, so I think it feels a lot more modern. It feels kind of a bit more current.
I think the show is kind of sexier and more sordid and maybe a bit darker than a usual whodunit.
Sarah Phelps has written this version of The Pale Horse, and there's something quite sort of tough about it and quite strong about it and very funny.
She seems to be writing about a deeply bedded anxiety that sits within our social class structure.
I think what it's got going for it is that it slightly breaks the mold in a way. It's a slightly different genre. It's spooky. It's a little bit, it's really quite a scary read for me at least, and I think it's incredibly stylish.
The Pale Horse is a mystery hidden within an enigma, hidden within a kind of paranoid nightmare.
It has a viciousness to it, a dry, witty nastiness, which appealed to me.